Hi, I'm Katie from Whatever Katie Says, and if you'd like to see more about my Birmingham fabric haul, then grab a cuppa and stick around. So this year I was meant to be in Florida for my summer holidays, and unfortunately that couldn't happen. So instead we did a road trip up to Scotland and back again, and on the way we stopped off at various different places. And it would have been totally rude not to have gone to the Birmingham Rag Market when we were there last week. And I took a bit of footage, which I'm going to show you how you actually get down to the bit of the rag market that sells the fabric, which wasn't the easiest thing in the world, even though I'd read various blogs and looked at some videos. It wasn't actually obvious necessarily where all the fabric was. So I've got a little bit of footage about that and some pictures, and then I will go on to talk about what I actually bought there. It is worth noting that obviously this was taken in COVID times. I don't know if usually there are more stands there, if there's more fabric, less fabric, if there's fabric in different places. You'll see I didn't actually find anything really in the covered market. I only found it in the outside market. There were a couple of haberdashery stands and one that was selling a small bit of fabric in the undercover market, but there was nothing there that was really worth filming. So and again, I don't know if that is normal or just at these times. And also just to let you know, I was there at a weekend as well. I was there on a Saturday looking. I bought fabric from two different stalls, and the first one was 50p a metre for the fabric. And I don't know where you guys are based, but for me, living just outside London, I don't ever really see fabric for 50p a metre. And even when I bought a whole load of fabric in the States last year, it still wasn't that cheap. So I had an absolute field day. I couldn't believe how cheap it was. So I'm going to just go through some of the things I picked up. And whilst in my mind I had ideas of what I would do with this fabric, it was incredibly difficult and it was quite busy to work out how many meters I needed of everything. So generally I picked up either between 3 and 5 meters, and at 50p a meter it just seemed sensible really. So the first fabric that I bought was this fabric, which is really unusual. It is a stretch, and you can see it's got kind of ruffles with metallic bits. I have no idea how to describe this, and given that the sun is shining through the window as well, it's quite hard to see. You can see here that it's stretch and slightly sheer, and I am thinking that it will be a long sleeve dress for the winter, a going out dress, some sort of maybe short shift dress with long sleeves, something like that. I bought 5 meters of it because I just really wasn't sure, and then I thought, well, it might be useful for a swimming cover up as well. I just didn't know. So that was the first one I bought, and I was just overwhelmed at the fact it was 50p a meter, so I bought tons of it. And it's quite bulky, and now I've got to work out where I'm going to store it. The next fabric I bought is another stretch fabric, and it's quite sheer, and you can see here that it's got a good stretch to it and it seems to have a good recovery. And I saw this and thought immediately that it could be a long sleeve or a short sleeve kilo wrap dress. I haven't decided yet, and I know in my last fabric haul I talked about making some more kilo wrap dresses, and I have some fabric for that. But at the moment that's just my favourite pattern. It keeps coming back to me, so I think that I'm going to try and actually cut that up in the next week, so hopefully that would be in my August makes video. My next fabric is another fairly sheer fabric, and it's also stretch, and it's pleated like this, which hopefully you can see on the video. And I have actually already cut this one up, and I have made the Ellie and Mac Trendsetter skirt, and I am using it as a swimming costume cover up because obviously it's fairly sheer, and I will insert a picture up here of it. And I still have a lot more of that fabric. As I said, I tended to buy between about 3 and 5 meters of everything, so I will still probably use that, and I think I'll probably use it as arms on things. So whilst I was looking at all the fabric, I was thinking about extra details, and I know that sleeves are still really in fashion, and they're going to be big fashion for the winter. So big sleeves, something a real drawing point to the top. So I had that in mind with kind of going round, thinking of the patterns that I had and thinking about some big boofy arms, big boofy sleeves in the winter that I could, yeah, use this fabric for. Moving on with that same theme, I bought some stretch lace, and again I bought this simply for the fact of thinking about some sleeves. I made the I Am lion and the I Am zebra top last winter, and I'm thinking that this could be a great sleeve addition for that, and also potentially it could be used as some embellishment for a skirt. So I thought that that was amazing for 50p a metre. My next purchase was just some sheer stretch fabric. Again, I'm thinking about that for sleeves and embellishments and design, potentially as cut out panels for something. And it's the sort of thing that potentially I wouldn't normally spend the money on the fabric, because I would have thought, oh, it's quite a lot of fabric and it might be a bit unnecessary, but for 50p a metre I thought it would be great to be able to experiment with it. Now moving on to two slightly different fabrics, I bought this jersey stretch rib fabric, and this simply would be perfect for vest tops, or even potentially some shorts for my daughters in the summer. It's fairly thin, and actually they had it in lots of other colours, but the colours were very light and I was worried they'd be quite see-through. But this, as you can see, this doesn't look so sheer because obviously it's a darker colour, but I just thought it would be really, really useful. And finally, from this stall, I bought this sweater knit. So if you can see here, I'm not actually sure which way is the right way here. They look pretty similar on both sides. And sweater knit, I don't know if any of you guys have made anything with it before. I know it does vary in quality, and I bought some in the States last year. It had absolutely no recovery, and it also just got really, really static the whole time. So I will be honest, I have low hopes for this, although it does feel thicker than the stuff that I bought last year. And sweater knit is really expensive in the UK, so I'm always a little bit nervous to use it. But what I thought would be good is that I could always use this as a test, and if it works out and the pattern works out that I'm using, then I think I'll be more willing to spend more money on the sweater knit once I knew that the pattern was going to work, and buy a more expensive one. But this feels okay. It's clearly got it's some sort of blend, and I'm hoping that maybe that, you know, it will be more robust. I don't know. I will give it a go. I don't really know a huge amount about fabric, so it really is just kind of trial and error for me. I was thinking as well, I forgot to say that this could be a long sleeve kilo wrap for the winter. But also I do have a sweater pattern that I would quite like to make this in as well. So anyway, it's something that will sit for a few months until the weather is cool enough. At the moment, the thought of even holding the sweater knit when it's 30 degrees outside is making me feel hot. And finally, I was on my way out. Actually, I was going to pop into one of the fruit stores and buy some bananas, and I passed another stall and I saw this lovely stretch kind of lurexy type of fabric. Again, sorry about the sun, it's kind of ruining what you can see. And I do have something really similar to this, and I think I even showed it on a fabric haul, but this is actually a lot thicker, and I think it will be more useful for potentially a dress or a top that I don't want to be too clingy, because it is that much thicker. I think it although it looks the same as some other fabric I've got, I think it's going to handle quite differently. So that is everything that I bought. Oh, just forgot to say that today I'm wearing the jumpsuit actually that I talked about in my last video on my versatile patterns. I don't think you can see the bottoms here, but you can see the top, just in case anyone wanted to know that. And I hope that this has been interesting if you were thinking about going to the Birmingham Rag Market. I can definitely recommend it. It was really fun. I probably wouldn't have done, you know, a journey specifically to go there, but whilst I was there, it was great. I know that there are various fabric shops around there as well. I keep hearing about Barry's fabrics. I just didn't have time. We were going to Cadbury's factory and various other things, and I just really had a very short time to nip out and go and have a look at the fabric. So hopefully anyway that's useful for you and you've enjoyed this, and please think about liking this video and subscribing to my videos in the future. Thanks very much. Bye.